Think back to when you were 7 or 8 years old. What was a normal child supposed to be doing at that age? Maybe whining for an extra piece of candy, sobbing over a tiny scraped knee, or leaving a trail of toys across the floor, knowing with absolute certainty that someone would be there to clean up after them. Childhood, at its core, is the privilege of being careless and vulnerable. But there is another group of children who never had that privilege. Instead of crying, they learned to observe. Instead of making a mess, they learned to fold their blankets perfectly so as not to upset the adults. Instead of demanding anything, they stood silently in the kitchen, dragging a chair to the counter to reach the dishes themselves, because they knew mom was lying in a dark room with a nameless sadness, or dad had just stumbled home smelling of booze. People would often praise them, saying, "Such a good kid, so young," yet they understand the world like an adult. But that wasn't natural maturity, that was a survival mechanism. When a child is forced to grow up too fast, a part of their soul essentially has to die to make room for a protector. We call this parentification, an invisible trauma that leaves a lifelong scar. Welcome to DeepShift. Today, we are stripping away the mask of this perceived strength to answer one haunting question. Did you truly grow up, or were you simply forced to ripen by traumas that were never given a name? Imagine a normal child is like a blank sheet of paper. But a child who grew up too fast is more like a highly sensitive radar system. Why? Because in a home where parents are psychologically unstable, whether due to addiction, financial pressure, or simply because they are too fragile, the child learns a survival lesson. My feelings don't matter as much as the safety of this room. They start learning how to read the room before even stepping inside. Was dad's footstep heavy or light today? Is mom's gaze fixed on nothingness, or is it burning with anger? In psychology, this is called hypervigilance. The child becomes an emotional thermostat. If the tension is too high, they'll play the clown just to make everyone laugh. If the atmosphere is too heavy with sadness, they'll be the ones making tea or cleaning up. They trade their innocence for a few fleeting moments of peace. Many people ask, what's the harm in growing up fast? Don't these people usually become more successful? And it's true. They are often the superstars at work. They're the employees who never say no, the friends who are always there to listen, and the partners who take care of everything. But look closer at the price they have to pay. First, there's hyper-independence. They never ask for help. To them, asking is a sign of weakness. It's being a burden. They would rather collapse under a mountain of work than utter the words, "I need help." Because when they were small, no one helped them. They had to do everything themselves just to survive. Then, there is the fear of rest. For an adult who was once a child, forced to grow up too fast, sitting still feels like a crime. They feel they must be working, must be productive, just to feel worthy of existing. Stillness is dangerous because it reminds them of the terrifying emotional voids of their childhood. And finally, love feels like a debt. They are often subconsciously drawn to broken people, people they can fix or rescue. They don't know how to receive unconditional love. If someone is genuinely kind to them, they get anxious, wondering, what do I have to do to pay them back for this kindness? The scariest part about growing up too fast is that you become a master actor, to the point where you even deceive yourself. You tell yourself, it wasn't a big deal. Other people had it much worse. But the truth is, that 7-year-old child inside you is still standing there, watching their parents fall apart and wondering, but what about me? Who is going to take care of me? When you deny your own pain, when you gaslight yourself, you only drive the wound deeper. To our audience watching this right now, you are likely carrying the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. People praise you for being strong, but the reality is you aren't strong. You're just too exhausted to even allow yourself to fall apart. So, what do? Healing isn't about traveling back in time to change the past. It's about changing how we treat ourselves in the present. Step 1, acknowledge the trauma. Stop calling it maturity. Call it what it actually was, a loss. You lost your childhood to protect the adults. You have every right to grieve that loss. Step 2, learn to reparent yourself. Instead of waiting for someone else to come and rescue you, you must become the adult you so desperately needed when you were small. When you're exhausted, give yourself permission to sleep instead of pushing through. When you're sad, let yourself cry without apologizing to anyone. Step 3, set boundaries. You are not the savior of the world. You are under no obligation to fix the emotions of everyone around you. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." It is not your fault that you had to grow up so fast. That was the brilliant intelligence of a child who simply wanted to survive. But listen to me, you are safe now. You no longer need that mask of strength just to exist. True maturity isn't about knowing how to take care of everyone else. It's about knowing when to stop and take care of yourself. You spent half your life being the adult. Now, it's time to let the child inside you finally rest. You are not broken. You are just a warrior who has been fighting for far too long. Today, try to lay down your weapons and give yourself permission to not be okay for a while. Do you see yourself in any of these reflections? Leave a comment about the moment you realized you had to grow up too fast. We'll dive deeper into how to set healthy boundaries in our next video.